Welcome back to wherever you may be, part of the 90-Min Podcast Network. Today, I'm joined once again by Krish and Anita. I have to apologise because it has been quite a while since we've done one of these pods. We're all so busy and it just didn't line up in sort of timing-wise. But we are back and we're going to look back as well as looking forward. Krish, it's been... I don't even know how to describe the last few weeks. The highs of the 3-0 up at the Bernabeu to the low of going out. And that it feels like that performance, which was up there with one of the best performances I've seen Chelsea play ever, genuinely, has taken quite a lot out of us mentally and perhaps physically as well.
Yeah, I was literally just taking the words out of my mouth. It definitely does feel like that. It's kind of, yeah, from that high being 3-0 up, I don't think we've kind of reached anywhere close to that performance level in the kind of games in couple of weeks since. And yeah, you can really tell that in games. I think we're kind of struggling, kind of forcing things a lot, and everything just feels quite difficult at the moment. But I mean, I appreciate that from the players' perspective. Like they've put a lot in, and now we're suddenly playing for an FA Cup, which is obviously massive, but domestically, in the Premier League, like there's not loads to play for. Like we're pretty safe in third. We're not going to catch the top two, and we're not going to be caught. So it's difficult to kind of produce your very best in the Premier League, especially, I think.
Yeah, I just want to say I have never been in an away end like it, like the 3-0 at the Bernabeu for that 5 minutes, because it literally was. I don't think it was even that we were obviously going through. I literally woke up and I had bruises on the back of my legs. Like I've never experienced. We were sat there being like, right, we're just like, in my head, I was like, I believe we can do it. I know we can do it. But the fact we were like, we just want to give us one goal to celebrate, give us a little bit of hope. But the fact we had 3 goals to celebrate and we came so close. And I think it's hard to replicate that performance, Krish. Like, you know, like those performances are once a season. Like, you know, that was genuinely not just under Thomas Tuchel, but one of the best performances I've ever seen a Chelsea team play. To go to the Bernabeu and turn up like that, we did. We just needed to win it in 90 minutes. That was the thing. Once extra time came, Anita, we were pretty much done, weren't we?
Yeah, man. Oh, like thinking back.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible.
Honestly, I'm reliving it. I'm just like, God, we deserved to win so badly. I honestly, I was left so disappointed, but I was proud at the same time. It was a weird mixture of emotions. I was so proud of the boys, but I was just so disappointed that we couldn't keep Modric and Benzema at bay. Like Modric's pass, who was it to? Was it to Rodrigo?
Rodrigo, yeah.
Oh my!
Who even is that? I thought he played for Leeds. The only Rodrigo I knew. Great.
I'm so done. Like, honestly, I was thinking, where the hell did he come from? First off, where did he come from? Second, I think he came off the bench and then he just scored randomly. And Modric,
first touch, I think, yeah.
First touch, innit? And Modric was just absolutely fake. And Benzema, we weren't going to keep him quiet. So I was distraught, Olivia. I couldn't piece together my emotions because I thought, like you, like I thought we could do it. But I was like, okay, 1 goal is fine. Like 2 goals is fine. Give me something to celebrate. So when we got the 3rd goal, I thought that was it. I was like, bring me the final, take me to Paris right now. Like I thought that was it. That was done. But
yeah,
alas, I'm still proud, but it's just it was just really sad.
It's tough being taken down from like such a high, isn't it? Like properly gutting. Like, so for that goal to make such a difference,
the roller coaster of emotions, like every Chelsea fan would have gone through, just like the highs and the lows, and then the low again, and it was just by the end of it, I was literally like emotionally just like drained, like. Physically, I was drained from all the celebrating. Mentally, I was just like, how on earth have we got through this? So God knows how those players must feel. But I think we can take so much from that performance in Europe. And, you know, we go again next season. It does look like we are going to be in the Champions League for next season. Krish sort of nailed down this 3rd place in the Premier League, albeit with a disappointing result against Manchester United. How on earth did we not win that game? I feel like I've said this so many times on this pod, Krish. I feel like this is just repeating itself, but not even games, like seasons. We've been saying this, Frank Lampard's first season, we were saying it. And 2.5 years later, we're still saying it, that we can't put the ball in the back of the net. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah. I think since Diego Costa left, basically we haven't had a striker who just guarantees you 20 plus goals. And for a spell, yeah, like Havertz looked like that guy, but then obviously yesterday he wasn't. Didn't take kind of 3 pretty big chances that your kind of go-to centre forward would do. Even though we played really well, like we created plenty of chances throughout. United were super passive, super average. So it is frustrating, and I think we know this is something the club need to address. Like we thought we'd addressed it last summer with Lukaku. I think that just really hasn't worked out. I can't really see him being at the club beyond this summer. Like he's getting booed at Stamford Bridge. Like just seems to be toxic already, which is a real shame. And his form is awful. So like you can't really vouch for him in any way.
I thought the boos were a little bit harsh.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely harsh, but you can kind of understand why some fans feel that way. You know, like
I understand the frustration, but I just don't feel like booing.
No, definitely not.
I just don't know if that's the answer.
But you know, the money spent and the form.
It's the money, and it's the fact that, you know, when you go to Stamford Bridge and then you see him actively not doing as much as you'd want him to do, I totally get the frustration building up. Like every time I go, if I'm in the East Stand upper, they're ruthless there. Like they are absolutely ruthless. East Stand, Matthew Harding, they are ruthless. Like they will give it to you. Even the shed end. How can I forget the shed end? They are so ruthless to the point.
Basically every stand.
Every stand.
Maybe
Apart
not
from West Stand. West Stand is
we'll
cool.
leave the West Stand. Yeah.
West Stand is cool, but like they're so frustrated with him that when it builds up, they just start booing. And I guess Thomas Tuchel's doing a great job in kind of protecting him, so keeping him on the bench a little bit, and bringing him on only in dire situations and stuff. And I do think he will stay another season, maybe another couple of seasons, because again, it's a lot of money to just let go just like that. But he needs to kind of show us exactly why we bought him from Inter Milan. I don't care if people say Thomas Tuchel isn't playing him to his strengths, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. You are £97 million. You cost that much because you're able to adapt. You're able to adapt the situation. So hopefully by the end of the season, we start to see a little bit of a change. Do you know what? We're basically at the end of the season. Hopefully next season we start to see a bit of a change and things get positive.
Well, Thomas Tuchel mentioned it in his post-match interview. We will get on to Reece James in a second because we can't not talk about how brilliant he is. But maybe with Reece James and Ben Chilwell back, maybe that might help. Thomas Tuchel basically said, and I completely agree, and I've been saying it. I know it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, and you can say if we didn't draw that game, but I genuinely believe if Reece James and Ben Chilwell had stayed fit for the majority of the season, Chelsea would at least be, or would have been in a title race for a lot longer than they were. So maybe having those two back and having a fully fit squad, maybe that will help Romelu Lukaku. Are we clutching at straws here, Krish? I don't know.
I think you saw at the start of the season that their presence definitely helps him. Like Reece James is genuinely a world-class right-sided defender, and probably among the kind of like top 3 definitely wing backs and right backs on the planet. So like there's no surprise that he has that effect, and he's just so ridiculously good going forward that you can't really replace him, and we didn't replace him. And unless you spend like 60 plus million on someone like Hakimi or whatever, you're not going to replace him. And that is the level that he's at now, I think. So yeah, he's right. I mean, if you lose a player who's that important and that effective, it is going to lose you a lot of points, I think.
But then even losing 2 of the players, because Ben Chilwell had an absolutely brilliant start to the season.
Yeah, I don't think Chilwell's the same level, probably not as effective, but he's still an excellent player and contributes so much.
The balance feels right when it's Ben Chilwell and Reece James, and it feels just a little bit off when one of them or both of them aren't there.
Exactly, and Reece James, the quality of his deliveries. So like if we had that yesterday into either I mean, I know we did have Havertz playing, but Lukaku started the season well, and there was a reason for that. And if we had Reece James kind of in the team throughout that period, I know Lukaku had that 7-game spell even when Chilwell and and James were fit, but you just feel that they could create for him, and it would have gone a bit better than it has. But yeah, and likewise for Havertz. Like I know he came into form in like March, but they all of our forward players would have had better seasons if Reece James and Chilwell were there for sure.
Yeah, and Anita, with Reece James, I think we could sit and talk about him all day, every day. There was rumours today I saw that Real Madrid are interested, perhaps from 2023 onwards. Genuinely, in one of our shows this morning, we were asking, with obviously Jurgen Klopp signing a new deal at Liverpool, we were asking which players or manager would you like to sign on a long-term contract? Now, obviously, Thomas Tuchel is one of them. But for me, hands down, it's Reece James.
Oh, 100%. Oh, do you know what? Real Madrid need to pack it in, right? I'm so fed up. He's not for sale. They have been after our transfer targets. Real Madrid and Barcelona, we have the same transfer targets. They want our players. Leave us alone. I'm so sick and tired of reading every single morning.
They're not even that good anymore. This is Real Madrid. They're not the Real Madrid of old. Like,
it's so irritating. They're living off the fact that they are Real Madrid. It's just the name. If Real Madrid was not Real Madrid, Antonio Rudiger will still be waiting here with Chelsea. Like, it's so annoying that they think they can get any player that they want. And I really see this as an insult. Why do you think you can come and take Reece James away from us? That is our homegrown talent. He's probably one of the best in the world right now. How dare you even think you can get him in 2023? No. It's not happening. He's probably going to stay here for quite a long time. I do envision him and Mason Mount as co-captains, the same way John Terry and Frank Lampard were. That's the vision we have for them. Don't disrupt my vision. Because I'm sick and tired. You knocked us out of the Champions League. You've taken Antonio Rudiger away from us. What more do you want?
Yeah,
leave us alone.
I preach. Leave us alone. And Krish, we got to talk about Antonio Rudiger because obviously we knew there was rumours that he might stay. There was rumours that he obviously might go out of contract in the summer. Obviously, he's off to Real Madrid. I think we know that for sure. Thomas Tuchel confirmed it, said none of the players like it. Of course, he's a brilliant player. But I think we have to remember here, Krish, he hasn't been this good for the whole of his Chelsea career, has he?
No. I don't know if that helps or not. I think the fact that we have essentially developed him, and Thomas Tuchel especially, into like one of the best centre-backs on the planet at the moment, and the fact we're losing him for free does make it pretty tough to take. But I've seen him like getting a lot of stick for kind of people saying he's going for the money and all that. And I agree that the Real Madrid of today are not quite what they were. But I think for most players who've grown up in that generation, who are basically like the same age as us, like you kind of have Real Madrid in that esteem. Like it is a huge football club. It's a lot of players' dream to play in La Liga. So I kind of understand that. And if they are just willing to pay him the money,
but that's the thing. No, I think. Yes, it's Real Madrid. Yes, it's not the Real Madrid of old. I get it's still Real Madrid and it's still a very attractive club to play for. We've seen Courtois and Hazard both go there, that being their dream. However, Chelsea offered him a deal that was very, very good, but he wanted more money and he's got exactly what he wanted. 10 million signing on fee for him, 10 million signing on fee for his brother, who's his agent. He wasn't going to get that at Chelsea. And so the move is for the money. It's not because he wants to play for, it's not because he's desperate to move to Real Madrid in my eyes. It's because that's the only club. PSG weren't willing to pay that. Bayern Munich weren't willing to pay that. All these top clubs in Europe, Real Madrid were the only one. Chelsea weren't willing to pay it and he's left. And it's sad that he's gone because he was brilliant. I think it's going to be interesting to see him play in a form more regularly at Real Madrid and seeing if he can, carry on this obviously brilliant form that he's thingied in the Premier League. But Anita, there is life, as Thomas Tuchel says, at Chelsea after Tony Rudiger. We let Eden Hazard go. Now, Eden Hazard was ridiculous at the time, and we let him go, and we've recovered since. So Chelsea will be fine, won't they?
I mean, Liv, have we recovered? I miss Eden so much.
Okay, maybe not. That was probably not my best example, but...
Oh my God, no, you guys will learn about me. Like Eden Hazard, I love him so much. You know what I mean? You cannot not love him.
Yeah. I would bring him back in a heartbeat. I would bring him back in a heartbeat.
People call me emotional. I'm like, have a heart, okay? Have a
I
heart.
was just like, take logic out of this. I don't want any logical replies. I don't want any logical answers. I just want Eden Hazard back at Chelsea. And if we're going to give them Antonio Rudiger a free, the least they can do is give us back Hazard.
Give us back Eden Hazard. If you want Antonio, fine. Give us back Hazard. That's okay. We can negotiate on those terms, all right? We can do that. No, but like you said, there will be life after Antonio Rudiger. I was one of those fans really rooting for him. I did see the potential in him quite early when he joined us in 2018, I think it was, with Antonio Conte. And I thought, you know what, given the right coach and, you know, the right temperament, because he was just all over the place at the time, he could actually become this world-class centre back. And obviously Thomas Tuchel, he saw it and put him in a back three, and a back three worked. So it would be interesting to see him in a back four on a week-to-week basis at Real Madrid. And if that doesn't work out, then it looks like we got the better end of the deal anyway, you know, and like we can go out now and we can buy a defender that will be good in a back three or a back four. Like, I don't know, a lot of people have been talking about Pau Torres, Bastoni, and it's like, these are not bad options to have. The only thing that we'd really be missing, and this is why I said I didn't want him to go, is that kind of leadership and that kind of familiarity in the dressing room. But other than that, he is replaceable. It's just sad that he has to go, being such an admirable figure in the dressing room. But yeah, we have life after him, you know?
I think, you know, Thomas Tuchel was like, he's a unique character. He's an aggressive leader. He'll, you know, take the pressure off you. If someone else is under pressure, he'll put it onto himself. And that is exactly the things that we will miss. But Krish, do you think we should be looking at spending? I know we've been linked to Jules Koundé as well. We were linked to him last season. Are you looking at Chelsea perhaps spending 50, 60 million on a defender that can come in? Or it's potentially a big risk, but we've seen what's happened with Trevor Chalobah this season. Levi Colwell's apparently been absolutely brilliant out on loan. And playing next to Thiago Silva will do absolutely wonders for a kid like that. But is that too big of a jump to put in an academy player or someone that's come through the academy that's never played in the Premier League before in next to Thiago Silva in a back three?
It is a big jump, but yeah, I think Chalobah is a fine example of players being able to do it. I think the opinion at Chelsea is that Levi Colwill is like another level, like the next. Like, I don't want to put the pressure on saying like the next John Terry, but he's seen as like, you know, top potential, like better than was expected of Trevor Chalobah. Whether that comes next season, I'm not sure. I think they're going to give him a chance in pre-season, and then we'll see. But I think, to be honest, because we're losing one genuinely world-class centre-back and one very, very good centre-back in Andreas Christensen, and we're not sure what's going to happen with Azpilicueta, who is also aging. Thiago Silva's aging. Like, feasibly, they need to...
Thiago Silva's fine, Krish. Don't you worry. He's like 45.
Yeah, to be honest, his age is literally just a number. I'm not in any way worried about him, but I think the thing is when you're at that stage, it could switch really quickly and something, you know, it could just not all go wrong, but he could drop off really quickly, or an injury could completely offset him or whatever. So yeah, feasibly we need to sign kind of two centre-backs who are capable of starting games regularly, because I think there's a lot of, I mean, like Malang Sarr, for example, I don't see staying. I don't know if he's not really a long-term option. So yeah, I think one player we'll spend a lot on. I think that'll be Koundé, and I think he is capable of stepping straight into the team. Obviously, he isn't the tallest, and obviously we get away with that with Thiago Silva alongside taller centre backs, but having two kind of not as tall, I don't know if that'll be an issue or not.
With Azpi, if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very short back three, isn't it?
Yeah. But from the sounds of it, Colwell will be given a chance, which I think is a good thing. I think we've seen in the last few seasons the potential of these academy players. Like, our academy is absolutely elite, and we are producing players who are that level, who go on to become world class within sort of 2 seasons of first team football, which is absolutely ridiculous, really. As we said about Reece James, like Mason Mount's consistency is ridiculous. I think consistency is such a big part of being a top level footballer, and Mason Mount is that for Chelsea, and has been now for this season again. He's probably been one of our most consistent players last season and for big parts of the previous season. So if we can get that out of someone like Levi Colwill, obviously he'll be given the space to kind of make the mistakes. Depending on how this transfer window goes, I think expectations might have to change a bit going into next season. I know everyone was talking about a title challenge in normal circumstances, but I think, I don't know, things could be quite different now with players leaving, and depending on how long this ownership stuff rolls on, we may just have to shift focus back to top 4 again or whatever. But I don't see that as a massive issue. I think it's building blocks as long as Tuchel stays. But yeah, as long as Tuchel's there, I think it'll be maybe 2 top centre backs and hopefully give Colwill a chance.
Anita, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this. Krish mentioned it there. Thomas Tuchel, he said in his pre-match United presser that that he will be here for pre-season. He's going to give it his everything. And Rudiger leaving was tough to take, but for me, that was the biggest thing that came out of that press conference for sure. There was rumours that, it is unsettling for everyone. And, with Thomas Tuchel's got a lot going on in his personal life as well. So it hasn't been an easy few months for him, for sure. But the fact that he's turned around and said that, should Chelsea fans be reading into that? Should we get excited that Thomas Tuchel was going to be here? Or do you think things can change so quickly that maybe we shouldn't take his word for gospel?
That last part really, it really struck me. So I was one of the fans taking his word for gospel, but
I absolutely am. I got so excited.
You know what I mean? Like, I have so much faith in him that I don't think he's actually gonna go anywhere. No. He loves a challenge, doesn't he? He loves a challenge, and he's not one of those coaches that need the star players around him. I feel like a lot of people have taken what he's done at PSG with like Mbappe and Icardi and all the big name signings and stuff, and taking that as a hint, as he needs that team ahead of him and stuff. But he's proven it. He's proven it with Chelsea that he doesn't need his exact players that he wants around him to be successful. So I do think that he will stay and he would be up for the challenge, especially in pre-season. And when he was at Dortmund, when he was at Mainz, he was using his youth players as well. So I do think we have a great academy. So anyone he can pick from there that's coming back from a loan spell. And bearing in mind, we still got Conor Gallagher to come back, Broha to come back as well. So we've got a lot of options there that he can play around with. And if anyone's good at player development, it's him. And I'm sure he loves it. And like you said, there's a lot going on in his personal life. And I'm sure he'd want to use this as a way of an outlet or like a little distraction for him also. So I'm taking his word for gospel. I hope it doesn't come back to bite me, because I really thought Rudiger was going to stay. So I'm really heartbroken by that already. I think a Thomas Tuchel heartbreak will send me over the edge. I don't need that around me. I don't think
I'll be able to take that as well, losing Thomas Tuchel and Rudiger. Krish, what sort of bracket are you in with this Thomas Tuchel potential news? Are you getting excited? I feel like you're the one with like the serious logical answer here. Whereas me and you are just like, oh, he's gonna stay. He said he's gonna stay, so he's gonna stay.
I think I got into your heads off there. Yeah. I mean, I really, really hope he stays, and exactly for all the reasons Anita said. There's just a bit of doubt, just because I know the whole takeover thing is just taking so long, and there seems to be so many unknowns that I just hope it doesn't drag into the summer and become problematic, because then I think, regardless of how happy he thinks he is now, other issues can crop up, and if they're unable to do kind of any business or whatever, then obviously he's not going to be happy. But yeah, I genuinely think, obviously he's won the Champions League, and we had that title challenge early on, but he's such a good fit, probably the best, ironically the best one, like probably the second best fit since Abramovich actually bought the club. So it would be properly devastating if anything were to go wrong in that sense. But fingers crossed he'll be there. I'm kind of like 80% sure.
Where would he even go? Like, that's the only thing keeping me together. There's nowhere to go.
That's what I mean. Man United, there was rumours, when Jamie Carragher came out, was like, Man United need to go and get Thomas Tuchel whilst all this stuff's up in the air. But now they've gone and got Erik ten Hag.
Yeah.
He's not gonna go to Tottenham. He's not gonna go to, so like, you're looking at Man City, Liverpool in the Premier League anyway. There's no real club for him in the Premier League now. So He seems like the sort of guy, like you said.
Return to PSG.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they left in pretty bad terms. So actually, there's not a huge amount of top class jobs out there. The ones that Thomas Tuchel would go for. So
Actually, let me burst the bubble a little bit. Bayern Munich are not entirely
Bayern, I would have said.
Are they?
Yeah.
Would he go there?
Nagelsmann's had a poor season.
Would he go there?
He might want to go back home. You know, he might want to go back home to Germany, manage the biggest club in Germany. Oh God, let me not talk myself into this.
I think he would go there, but I think Olivia, you are right. I think at the moment, because Nagelsmann's so young, I think Bayern kind of knew this would be the way. Like they're still winning the Bundesliga. They'll be back in the Champions League next season. Yeah, but they'll be challenging for the Champions League next season. They shouldn't have gone out to Villarreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll be back, and I think because he's so young, they've sort of made a commitment for the future with him, knowing that it might be a different process, but it's more about the style of play and stuff, isn't it? But yeah, you're right. There's nowhere he would go directly. So if he took a break from football or whatever, maybe that's a possibility. It just depends. Like if it's becoming stressful, or I don't know, if he knows fully that his next season is just going to be a bit of a write-off because they've been unable to do business and have lost players in the meantime. Yeah, just that's the only way. But I genuinely don't think, hopefully, that will be too much of a problem. And for him to say publicly that he's already kind of committed to himself that he's going to stay. Yeah, he feels
like the sort of person that wouldn't just come out and say that for the sake of it. I can think of quite a few managers that would probably just come out and say it just to keep the fans on side and just to like chill for a little bit. But it doesn't seem like that sort of person. Not that I know Thomas Tuchel, but having been in his press conferences and just seeing how he is, I don't know. I feel like that would be out of character for him to come out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to stay," and actually, no, a few months later, I'm going to go. So I think it is on a whole positive. The only thing is, Anita, is the transfer window. You know, Chelsea need a midfielder. If Jorginho is going to potentially leave to go to Juve, Declan Rice might be available. Is the only worry that, like Krish said, the new owner is going to come in, but then we might not have this money to spend, and we go into the season with the same squad, albeit a better one than we finished the season with because of Ben Chilwell and Reece James. But that's the only trouble, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and I kind of have a theory, right? Don't quote me on this, anyone listening. Don't quote me. It's just a theory. But obviously, Roman Abramovich, he's asked for an extra 500 million and stuff. Yeah. And I just feel like the Roman Abramovich, his whole circle, especially Marina as well, they are smart enough to kind of foresee this happening, the possibility of an owner spending 3 billion and then not having enough funds to kind of, fund a new team or fund, the transfers that we need in the summer. So I do think that maybe there has been a bit of a budget set aside for transfers that Roman Abramovich has probably put in there, because him asking for the 500 mil, it doesn't make any sense to me. He's not going to get any of the money. Nothing's going to him. So why else would he want that 500 mil? Maybe just as reassurance for the transfers or something. I don't know. It's just a theory, everyone. I'm not sure, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me. So I'm hoping our transfer window would be relatively okay. I'm still a bit positive about it. Ask me again at the end of August, and I'll tell you how I'm really feeling. I'm not too worried about the transfer window. And plus, the owners have to make a good impression on the first window anyway.
I agree with that theory. Yeah, I did a story about what Chelsea's midfield might look like next season based on the stuff we sort of know already.
By the way,
and there's so many people.
Kante's performance yesterday, should we just say, was unbelievable. I know he was at fault for the goal. It was like a heavy touch or something, but overall, I thought he was absolutely class yesterday.
For sure, yeah. So yeah, it was sort of about like how the midfield could look next season with Gallagher, maybe Rice, maybe Tchouaméni, and then so many people are replying to me saying, we can't buy players yet. Like, how do you know this? But it's like, you think Marine is just like sitting there like
chilling,
twiddling her thumbs,
having
just
a
like
coffee.
yeah. Well, I can't do anything, so like
Twiddling her thumbs, like
just let me know when I can, and I'll get on.
Yeah. As if they're going to give themselves like a week to do
buy.
This. This stuff has been in motion for like a year, like at least. Players like Koundé, like that I think has been kind of sorted out for months and months and months. So I think it'll be fine. Like as Anita says, and the money will be there. I think the reason these three bidders are now shortlisted is because they have the money. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be in that position if they hadn't guaranteed funds, and that was one of Abramovich's kind of prerequisites for the next owner, is that they had the money to maintain Chelsea at the very highest level, which I'm sure they will. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine if these new owners come in, buy the club, and then you go, here you go, here's Declan Rice. We shall see, won't we? Krish, Anita, thank you so much. That's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can watch us now on YouTube if you like. If you could drop us a review, it would be very much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you've enjoyed what you heard. And I promise we will not leave it this long next time. We will be back very soon for another Wherever You May Be. We'll see you then.